Okay, it is September 11th, 2021. I almost said 2001. It's a beautiful day out here, and the first thing that came to mind was the fact that on 9/11, 2001, at the World Trade Center, everyone said it was the most beautiful day. So, as I've previously said in other videos, every 9/11 I feel differently. And I hope the plane in the background, how ironic is that? I hope the plane in the background isn't making a lot of noise. But every year I feel a little differently. When it was the 10th anniversary, I focused exclusively on those were affected by the terror attacks that year. I really wanted to think nothing about me. In fact, I, with the rest of the country, really got to see never before seen images of the attacks, seeing people falling from the building, hearing people in the towers and on the planes saying their goodbyes and describing what it was like inside. I always thought about the country as well, but I really wanted to focus just on the country because of the fact that I'm still here. Excuse me. This year, the 20th anniversary, this year is a lot. It's been very triggering. Every time I see an image or a promo related to 9/11 or even seeing the date, it's been so triggering that it's kind of made me nauseous, made me sick. And I think there are several reasons why. I think about the families. I think about the families of the soldiers whose lives were lost. And now that we have pulled out of Afghanistan and realized that, at least the public finally realizes, because we didn't know this before, just how trying to do nation building apparently was never going to work. And just how the families feel like maybe all of this pain, all of this loss, all of these injuries were not even worth it. But I just want to say to all the families and the soldiers, all the veterans, your work, your sacrifice was not in vain because you kept America safe for 20 years. We never even thought about, well, most people didn't even think about another 9/11 scale terrorist attack because we got so used to being safe, and you guys did that. That was you. I think about the 13 soldiers who gave their lives in the pullout of Afghanistan. I understand we needed to be out of Afghanistan, and I'm glad we got out of Afghanistan, but my heart aches for the citizens the American citizens who want to get out, can't get out, and for the Afghan allies who have risked their lives, thousands, to help protect America. They helped sacrifice as well for our country, and now they're stuck. Many of them will not get out, and many of them, if not have already been murdered, will be murdered. And I think about the Afghan women and children, the women who finally got to work, finally got to drive, finally got to taste what it was like to have equal rights, or certainly close to it. I think about the children of Afghanistan that have grown up in the 20 years since the Taliban has been gone, or however long the Taliban had been gone, and lived in a world without Taliban rule, and now they are realizing the horror that their parents faced, their parents and generations before, well, not generations, that their parents had faced and talked about, and that they had hoped they would never have to live. And I think about seeing the images again. I think about that day, 9/11, and I think about the people, the people who were in New York. I think, again, seeing the bodies falling from the buildings, it just, for some reason, it brought back everything. You know, from the first time in a long time, I'm seeing everything, the clothing, the culture of 2001, everything. It's just like, it's like PTSD. It takes me back to being 14. And it's just very hard to witness. And then think about me. Sorry, my neighbors were yelling. And then I think about me. And I wonder, and I'm just like, you know, I'm reliving all of this, even though I wasn't in New York or on the planes or in the buildings. It just all comes back, and I'm so, all these mixed emotions. Part of me is like, feels guilty for even thinking about my situation and thinking that, you know, it paled in comparison to what people went through, you know, that day. But it just, I don't know. You know, so part of me feels guilty, but then the other part of me is like, I've had a really, really rough year. Everybody has, with COVID from 2020 going into 2021. It's been really rough, and you know, I don't know where I'm supposed to fall in the middle of all of this. 2020 was a difficult year because when I had my football accident on 9/11, from that there was an insurance policy for catastrophic injury for my disability, and even though my parents had to really fight to get me some of the benefits I was able to get, it paid for my 24-hour nursing care. It paid for my medical supplies for years, but at some point I contacted my counselor at Cigna because I wanted to know how close I was to that money running out so that I could prepare. Never heard back. So fast forward to 2020, one of my nursing agencies notified me, letting me know that some of the invoices had not been paid, and so I had to contact Cigna and find out what the deal was. And it turns out that not only did my counselor leave the company without contacting me, but all the money from all that insurance money that I was paying for my nursing care and medical supplies, it ran out. So immediately all of my agency nursing care stopped, and my family, we had to search for caregivers, many of which did not have the qualifications or frankly even the same passion as some of the caregivers I used to have to try and help give me some sort of coverage. And whatever coverage I wasn't able to get from them, my parents have had to step in and help. So not only did my family have to really hunker down and try to ask around and look on places like care.com to try to find caregivers, which hasn't been very successful. We have been having to pay out of pocket. And I know it's like, well, you're an attorney. Well, wow, you should be able to afford all this. But what people don't understand is that, like, for my situation, and by the way, I'm one of the lucky ones. I'm one of the lucky ones. There are so many more people with disabilities and in particular spinal cord injuries that need the level of care that I do and don't even have a support system. So I'm very lucky. But how it works is, like, I wouldn't qualify for something like Medicaid because I make too much to get any sort of financial assistance or any aid funded by them. But I don't make enough to really thrive and be able to kind of enjoy my life because this kind of care is very expensive. And so, there may be some light at the end of the tunnel, which I'll explain in a little bit. But and then on top of that, with COVID, everybody's been dealing with COVID, right? And just how bad it is. And for me, having caregivers, every day I'm my anxiety level is up because I can't control what my caregivers do outside of the home, and all I can do is require that when they come into my home, they wear a mask and they social distance to the extent that they can. But unfortunately, that's kind of hard, seeing as how they have to do hands-on care with me. So it's been a lot. And then also, my body keeps changing. I have postural scoliosis, and it causes my left side to droop some, and my ribs rotate, and it's very uncomfortable. I don't know what it's like to sit comfortably anymore, and also increased nerve pain, and I tried, just to keep myself in some sort of shape. I tried to try different diets and things like that. Well, fortunately, I end up losing more weight in my legs and my arms than anything, and the weight stays in my stomach. So there's that, and this weight that I lost that I may never get back. And I just, this year, leading up to this anniversary, I've just been thinking about all of the things that, all of the dreams that I had, or there were places that I thought I would be, and, unfortunately, life is life. And, just lost so much. And I feel guilty, like if I don't watch, and I feel guilty, like if I don't watch the coverage, I will be doing all of those who suffered a disservice. And I don't want to look away. I want to look away because just everything, all of the events that I mentioned, it just feels like this huge weight on my shoulders. But I feel like if I don't, then, I just feel like I owe it to the people who I share the anniversary with. I owe it to them to watch and remember. As painful as it is, and it's painful. It's really painful. And I honestly thought that I would be walking by now. But it's okay. It's okay because I'm so hopeful, and I have faith that it will happen. And even if not for me, for someone else. And so when I look at athletes that choose to take care of themselves so that they don't injure themselves in whatever sport that they are doing, or they decide to leave the sport, I commend them for doing what they need to do. But you guys know me, I'm a living in the light kind of guy, right? In fact, one of my mottos is, behind every challenge is an opportunity. And also, use your pain. Use your pain, derive passion, and find your purpose. Turn your pain into your purpose. And so, I was recently appointed to the board of directors of the United Spinal Association. And one of the committees that I joined, it deals with policy. And so, there is a bill that is designed to really help people with disabilities get the proper care and funding sources for not only for the benefit of the client or patient, but also to really invest money in paying these caregivers I would say reasonable, adequate salaries. And so we're really hoping this bill gets passed, so make your voices heard, whether that's to, I'm in the 7th district in Georgia, so Carolyn Bordeaux is our rep. So make your voices heard, and all around the country, wherever you are. It's a big thing. It's a big deal. So we really want to get that passed. I'm going to continue to use my life to try to make change in whatever way that I can, inspire and encourage people in whatever way that I can, and make whatever dreams for me are still possible come true. So I'm going to roll out on faith and tell you that the best is yet to come. Thank you to all of those who have sent messages, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, or have called or left text messages. You mean the world to me, and it really does make a difference, especially on this anniversary. So, that being said, wishing you love and light. Bye. One final word to everyone. Listen, if I can say one thing that we all have in common, it's that we are Americans, and we all suffered that day on 9/11 in one way or another. Let's not forget that. Let's get back to that. Let's stop being so divided. And then when there are people who are suffering or from injustice or any sort of discrimination, speak up for them, and also listen to them, and just love each other, because we are Americans, and we got through 9/11 together, and we can get through this together where we are right now in this country. I truly believe that. So let's get back to loving one another and clinging to and holding on to what we have in common, and that is that we're Americans.